I'm going to call the meeting of the River Plantation Municipal Utility District Board of Directors to order.
Yeah, I'll be off that.
All right. On my agenda, just kind of a second ago. Okay. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the board meeting from February, was it 22nd? February 22nd, 2024. Any comments?
Well, I move we accept it.
Okay. Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Receive comments from the public. D.
I'd like to say, whenever I come up here and say anything to you, everything is documented. I can give you all the information you need. I just would appreciate that from the board. Now, I'd like to talk to Betty, and especially about the February 1st meeting. Betty, what do you think about directors who lie to the public? Should they be on the board?
Shit. Excuse me. Yes.
Well, let me give you some examples here. At the February 1st meeting, you referenced the conference and you ran into this TCEQ guy. When he found out you were with RPMUD, he rolled his eyes and he said he knew the inspectors and he was there as an inspector. And he said we had to have a 3-foot clearance inside and outside the fence. And he discussed this old 6-foot fence that had vines and branches, which could take down the fence. We have an 8-foot fence there. So you wouldn't give me his name or his title. So I did a public information request and got all your emails from you and the TCEQ. This guy is Jason Robinson. He's the Rural Ombudsman with TCEQ Small Business and Local Government Assistance Section. Phone number 512-239-6710. He denied everything. He was not familiar with RPMUD. He works out of Boston. He only goes to the conferences twice a year. He's never seen the plant. Kind of had to tell him where it was. He was not at the inspection. Hasn't been to Houston in years. And never told Betty about the 3-foot clearance because there is nothing in the TCE rules like that. Now, he checked the inspection report and apparently Kathleen Campbell was the inspector, but he didn't know her. He said he had other problems with other ones years ago, but nothing referred to RPMUD. And so when you're lying about that, what else are you untruthful about, Betty? Your resume? I mean, here you are signing checks for these invoices and never looking at the invoices. I don't think we need you on this board. Now, I don't know what you people think when you're going to be going to this meet and greet, but these will be the questions that are going to be asked.
Okay. Thanks, Dee.
I would like to say something.
Okay.
I was with Betty when she went to that conference because she is my sister. I was with her. I was standing right with her when she was talking to the gentleman. I don't know his name. I didn't ask because I'm not on the board, but I'm standing right there watching her talk to him. So I just wanted to tell you that.
Well, I'm sure she talked to him, but he says none of that is
I don't know who he
But
is.
I was going to
His
say,
name
and
is
he may
Jason
not. He
Robinson.
may have met so many people. He may not.
No, the emails were between him and Betty.
But didn't she say she ran into him at the conference? She talked to him at the conference.
That's where she met him, at the conference. That's where he met her. You
I
only
have
go to
no idea what his
conferences.
name is.
There's two sides to every story.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
And I certainly don't appreciate being called a liar.
Well, I don't appreciate you saying these things at these meetings, when first of all, there is no 3-foot clearance.
Okay, 3 minutes is over.
We know that.
Yep. Tim Horner.
And he wasn't there at the inspections.
Tim Horner.
Taylor, we talked a month or 2 or 3 back about that lot.
Contractor ever check it out, see if it's really forming a sinkhole or not? Around the grates where the pine tree came down?
Oh, you're talking about in Fairway Oaks?
Yeah,
Oh, yes. He was supposed to have gotten out there, I apologize if he hasn't. Let me circle back around to it.
yeah, just,
I apologize, that's completely on me.
okay,
That fell through, but I'll put a note in it, I'll get it on, next week to get it done.
great.
Yes, sir, sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, Denise,
Okay,
you didn't put anything, so I don't know if it's a yes or a no.
okay, yeah, I think Taylor's gonna, do I need to stand up
No.
or sit down? Okay, I think Taylor's gonna describe, he's got a plan.
For the drainage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've lived here for like 40 years, and it's been a constant battle, and of course, the old mud, couldn't get anything done. So I'm the lowest house of the 24 River Plantation Park, and it's a little subdivision park. And so, I mean, you would not believe it would be like living down here. Even in a rain, just sort of a normal rain, it can get really, really bad. It's so soggy and it lasts forever. And then if it's a real big rain, it goes all the way in the backyard because all of that water, is flowing down. And it goes a lot of times just right up to my door. And then what happened 3 months ago is I had to have my bedroom backs up. I told Taylor to it. And since, I had groundwater specialists, I had a mitigation water specialist come out, and they said that, sorry, it is not anything with your water. It is over time groundwater. So I had, since insurance, which I do have insurance, doesn't pay for it, they don't pay for groundwater, they will pay for flooding. I had to spend $3,000 just to buy a new floor. I wouldn't ever, I'm not saying I want anybody to pay for anything, but this is definitely a problem, and I'm really kind of afraid that as time is going on, it is getting worse, and it looks like my house, they say my house is sinking, but this groundwater, they said, that flows on that easement and flows in the back is just seeping all under my bedroom. Another thing is about 6 years ago, I had $24,000 front and back of plumbing done. When I did my back, my bedroom, bathroom, just to let you know what happened to me is they tied in, my plumbing company tied in right here on the easement to RP's. And so later on, I was talking to Taylor when he came out. He was so nice to come out, and I told him about this situation too. And he said, "We shouldn't have charged you." I had to pay around $1,000. And he said, any time you tie in, and I'm not asking for money. Believe me, I'm not that kind of person. But he said, any time you tie into an existing line, it's on the MUD district, because that should not be charged. So I just want you to know I've been through that. That was
So
$1,000.
our MUD charged you?
Yes, yes.
Or
Real quick.
a private plumber?
No, what happened was, I'm speculating,
Okay.
but she got charged another tap fee
Oh,
Yes.
to
okay.
go into the line. But the problem was, is my understanding was her original tap was busted and should have been
Got it.
replaced by the MUD district way back when. There's
Yeah.
that,
Okay.
but just for
Yeah.
clarification.
I just wanted to
Can you
know.
tell me where your house is? I don't know.
Yes,
River Plantation Park.
the 9th hole, Charleston, at 634 Durham Drive. I'm just looking, I'm the second house, just looking straight out at the 9th hole. That's,
I know where that is.
yeah. And I have one more, I want to ask y'all one more thing, and it's not a problem unless somebody gets hit. But sometimes there's little baseballers, and believe me, I love sports. My kids were always in sports, and grandkids. But they're practicing with, of course, the hardballs, and people are, have babies, they're walking out there. People are walking there, people are biking around that Charleston Circle. What happens is they're practicing, like one time they were practicing right across from my house. And so I kind of took a detour and I just asked, I asked the guy, I mean, they had, believe me, they had like a bucket full of at least 50 balls. And that's where y'all have all the new sprinklers, and they are scattered everywhere. So the thing that bothered me, I said, would you please stop? Because I'm walking my dog back over here, and he just was really rude and he said he wasn't going to stop, but he kept talking to me. So, you know, that was one thing. And I said, well, aren't you worried about the liability if, you know, you can, those balls, you know, those little kids are not good at that age. And we have about 5 parks where they can play and where it's safe, and that's where baseball kids should be practicing, not in a mud district where there's people around, but they can hit a car, they can hit our houses. So then I had another experience that was not good, and my neighbor had an experience, and mine was, it was the same guy, only he was right by the sales office on that old golf course hole there. And I said, hey, I'm walking by. Would you just stop while I'm walking by? And he started really taunting me, and you know, he said, oh, little lady doesn't want our kids to play baseball. And then he screamed psycho. So I'm going, okay, that's your problem, not. So we have a lot of real entitled people that are just, they think they own that place. Then my neighbor, who's 83, was walking her dog, the same area.
So,
Yep, that's it.
okay,
Okay.
okay. Sorry. Okay,
No, this one.
Robert.
624.
Your turn. Your 3 minutes.
I said no, but I only had one question.
Oh, I thought it was a yes.
I only had no.
Oh.
I only had one question regarding her comment. What distinguishes MUD versus county in dealing with water situations like that? I mean, like where we live, we don't have any drainage other than just the natural drainage. There's no storm sewer. So I was just wondering, where do y'all draw the line? Do you go to the county or you go to MUD and all that?
Montgomery County historically does not maintain storm sewer systems. Montgomery County has signed on to deal with the roadside ditches, and will address roadside ditch issues, but anything that extends into people's property or into a storm sewer, Montgomery County has historically said that they're not responsible.
What if you have no ditch?
If you have no ditch, then it's overland sheet flow. It should just be flowing off of your property in a direction. That's the original design of the neighborhood. I can't speculate with that. I know, you know, obviously where you guys live in the plans, I've looked at the plans, and y'all's drainage is just sheet flow. Now, one of the great things, when you get into Montgomery County, you have the blessing of hills. So when you travel to other parts of the state that have more diverse terrain, you'll see a lot less.
In our park, there's no sheet flow. It goes into the park, then it doubles back over onto private property. So there's no sheet flow in there.
I
Let's clarify.
I understand the practical nature. I'm talking from what the plans show as the
Okay.
theoretical nature. I apologize. I don't mean to say I have personal knowledge. I'm just saying with how the plans were designed.
And I do have a
That's all for me,
question.
thank you.
Okay. No problem. Okay.
Mark, would you
I have a
understand
question
something?
from Bernadette.
You want to sign in?
Do you want to sign in?
Oh, I did sign in something back there.
Oh, well, there should be another sheet then, I guess.
James had something.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Bernadette.
Okay. I would like to inquire about the planting of junk tree, shrubs, whatever it's gonna take for it to start growing. And I know that there is a budget that was collected based on the fine.
It was a fine.
It was a
wasn't-
fine, it was a fine that was not general fine, it was a fine that was designated.
No.
It was designated, and we heard it all, on the videos in this meeting, so I know it has to be in the meeting or in the notes, when that gentleman sat here and he was levied the fine, and he
was
wanted
levied
to
the
go
fine.
ahead and plant and redo it, and he
Correct.
was told specifically, no, we will do the planting, we don't allow you to go onto our property to do it. So I did hear it was specifically going to be, is putting it back in a state more or less of what it was. And I would like to know if there, and I know that you all, it wasn't that much, but it was reasonable enough to know that plants could be purchased between 3 to 5 feet, and all kind of. And if you were to say, okay, you send your landscaper 3 of them for 1 hour, I'll bring my 3, and then you all get the shrubbery, and we will just go to planting it sporadic, here, there, all over, all kind of junk one. I don't care what you want to buy. Some ligustrum, because they grow up high and they spread out.
First of all, if I can't let him do it, I can't let you do it.
No, I said I would be glad if you want, no, with your,
And
you all
second
buy
of all,
it.
my understanding was that was a fine, and I don't know if
No,
Paul's
it
still in here or
wasn't.
not.
It was
It was a
designated.
fine levied because he trespassed on our property and cut down our trees. Those trees do not have to be replaced.
No, not
If we
according to that
choose to
meeting. I
replace
want your
them-
attorney to pull up
I
that
have
meeting
recall
notes.
about that too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And if Tim could
It was
quote,
designated.
give again his statements about the cost per tree. It was a 4-inch diameter tree.
Actually, I was the one that got the.
Well, he
quotes.
reported it, and he said there was about a 4-inch tree at about $2,250 for 3,000 each. He put them in, there were 4 trees. And it was the understanding that that was why part of the basis for the fine was to do that transplanting. And I sat here in the chair and heard that.
And
Your hearing is not
owners,
correct.
the owners of that property is under the understanding that their fine was going to go to replenishing some of the damages that they did. It's in those meeting notes, because it was discussed twice, and I got to hear it on your YouTube.
Find
Please.
the minutes, bring
No,
it.
I don't need to find it. Your attorney is there, tell him look it up, it was on
Ask
YouTube.
Tim. I
Tim?
know what he stated.
Yeah,
I got a bid from Jay, and I know it was for trees and grass and installation.
yes, sir, thank
And
you.
I would also comment that one of the reasons we haven't put any trees back in yet is because we had no way to water them. And if you put them in there now and you don't give them
They're gonna
water,
die.
they're gonna die. So we were waiting till we got our sprinkler
It's
system.
raining now, so yes.
Yes,
But
but
can you
listen to
count
what
on
I'm
it to
saying.
rain
But the
consistently?
way how the
Are
sprinklers
you
sit,
done?
We
the
just got
way
this,
how the sprinkler system is set up,
Let me
it
finish
doesn't
my
wet
statement.
this side.
we just got our sprinkler systems in. We're testing it Monday to make sure it's working. At this point, if we're gonna put some in, we have this capability of watering them now. So now it would make sense to put them in, but
Todd,
not
what I'm
before.
trying to say, the sprinkler system that was always there, never wet towards a person's yard, it
We have
wet more.
changed,
We had a new one installed.
Okay, so it's gonna wet all that kind of area.
that's what we're going Monday to look at, to see what
I
it does.
understand, okay, no
But we
problem.
didn't wanna put trees out there, $1,000 or $5, and not water them. and let
But we
them
have
die.
to get that going as soon as
We've already
possible.
replaced the grass sod twice at one place, so we're not
So
gonna replace
We
trees
haven't
twice.
forgotten it, we just gotta get the water source to work.
You know, Arbor Day comes once a year, 2 times. You can get trees free of charge,
Yeah,
free of charge. Okay, so there's no charge. You know, they're not the 4-inch kind, but they will probably grow.
yeah,
I've planted them, I've seen them grow with the drought that we had last year.
and that saves us money too.
All right, next item on the agenda. The agreement to lease the administration building to Montgomery County ESD number 9.
Okay, we talked a little bit previously in an executive session about terms. I distributed, or Austin distributed a draft of a proposed lease for the board's consideration. We got a couple of comments back, which I appreciate, and I believe those have been addressed. And it's ready for the board's discussion and consideration now, or we can discuss it in executive session first, because it is a real property matter, if the board would choose to do so. So, up to you.
We should do it in
I have
open
an item I
session, no
want to talk
big
about
deal.
if you'll do the
Bernadette,
executive.
it doesn't have, it's the board to make the decision.
I have something I want to talk about, if we want to do it in executive session or not.
Can I say something about
Well, he
that?
just said that we might want to do it in executive session.
No, just a minute.
Let me say, if it's a term, if it involves negotiations with the ESD, then typically that would be done in executive session.
Okay, I got you.
But if it is a matter, another matter that you want to discuss in open session, that's entirely up to you, so.
So which is it?
I think this is a matter of
Executive.
negotiation.
Okay.
I have,
Good.
You have any questions? Anybody else have any questions? No, I think we're, okay.
okay, but James got it.
Can I say
first.
something about that?
Sure.
Are y'all going out for bids on this with architectural engineered stamp drawings?
We're not doing any work on it.
Okay, are you requiring it though? You're the leasing, right?
No.
You're going,
They're another governmental entity.
Okay,
We, in the lease, we have the right to approve or deny their plans. Whoever they use, they are using an architectural engineer.
okay, so you're gonna review those drawings, plans,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And you're gonna require them to be
We
architectural.
won't, but Taylor will. He's our engineer, yes.
So you're saying there will be architectural approved drawings?
Correct.
That you will be able to approve or not approve?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question about the driveways. It seemed to me when there was a discussion before, it was kind of up in the air. Was the MUD gonna pay for the improved driveways?
The MUD was not going to pay for the
Good,
improvement.
okay. Now they're gonna move the fence too because of the handicap parking space
We
over
are.
there? No, they are. Okay.
Okay. Number 4, financial and bookkeeping matters, bookkeeper's report.
Okay.
If I could turn the air down a little.
You go. Turn it up.
It's cold.
You want it up or you want it down?
Are you just excited for my report? Is that what's going on?
You want it warmer, Tom, you want to turn it up
He
then?
wants to turn it up, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't turn it down.
I want to turn it up.
Okay, y'all.
We'll be throwing snowballs out these registers here in a
From
minute.
our last
Run
meeting.
over there.
No worries.
I just think it's too cold.
Run over there. You're the only one at the end of the table. You're the only one who can get out.
Oh, I guess.
Go, Jack, has your arm.
All right.
It was probably said
Not
at
bad.
50 or something.
Thank you, Taylor.
I set at 12 degrees Celsius. Yeah, you do that math, figure it out.
Mario, where's your hat?
From our last meeting, we left off with $86,750 in checking account. We voided a check, this is actually voided in between the time period last meeting of finishing the report, but we had to reissue this, they never received this check, so we did reissue this at the last meeting. Transferring from your online account $60,000, that is covering some of today's expenses, and we are still truing up your Series 2022 construction report. My guess is there's still gonna be some more transfers potentially, but $37,445 in addition to what was previously transferred still need to be transferred, so that's what that is.
So this is a note that goes back to your operating account, so you'll see your operating account approved.
They were engineering invoices that were paid that should have been capital projects fund invoices, so those have been recoded, reclassed, and then transferred back. So. Earning interest on this account, we made payment to CenterPoint Energy and Energy. I know y'all did blank checks last meeting, but these came through in between that time period. I want to go ahead and get them paid. We didn't want to have to wait, have them wait for it in the mail. That's why we made those payments, so there's no late fees.
Well, I was gonna say, wasn't Entergy kind of messed up last one? Yeah.
Thank you for gotten all straightened out now too, so. Other checks previously approved, so this is where y'all will see the blank checks. They are written out, they're not totally blank, but this is where y'all see that category each month. CenterPoint and Consolidated, I'm holding on to those two. I did not make new ones for this month. I'll just use these whenever the invoices come through. I issued here Energy, and then we also handled a check for Synaptic Integrations. This is for surveillance. Today, for y'all's approval, we've got AWBD for Director for the conference coming up, so I will see you there as well. Consolidated for telephone expenses, energy for utility expenses, your bookkeeping fees, that's me, finally. No. Then we've got municipal operations for maintenance and operations for February, preparation, publications for operations admin, river plantation joint drainage, and y'all's STP account, legal fees, and this is both attorneys, your engineering fees, and then their fees for the emergency preparedness plan. First Financial, this is a safety deposit box rental. This looks like y'all pay this once a year. I did see it in y'all's last year's files, so.
So I had a question on that, whether we had anything in that safe deposit box at all, or do we need to keep that?
That's where all the skeletons are hidden.
I can't be that big for $65.
Don't open it though.
So we wondered if we should even be keeping that box. Is there a reason why we should be keeping the box?
I wasn't sure
I'll
what was in
have to
there,
look.
so I don't,
We'll have to look, we'll have to.
I say I have it, there's a key, but I don't think it's First Financial, is it? I don't think the key was First Financial, I thought it was somewhere else.
That's the same thing.
I thought it was a different bank,
We don't
but it
have
may have been
anything
that bank
we know of,
before it
right?
became First Financial.
I don't know why we need to.
How do we close it?
Well, we gotta find out what's in it first. We gotta find out what's in it
Well, we can
first.
do that while we're in the process of doing it,
And
but
I
we
can-
don't need it.
I can hold that check. This is a year-long check, so this is for 1 year of the box. I can hold on to that and not release it until y'all figure out what's in there, but I figured we need to cut a check if there is something in there and y'all want to keep the box.
We don't even know where it's at.
I don't know what's in there,
I don't remember the charge last year.
Yeah, I don't.
but I did see it last year. I
You
found
did?
it.
You
I
did?
did because I wanted to confirm that y'all were paying this directly and it wasn't an auto draft kind of expense, and I did find it.
Okay.
Let's see, it was paid, I think, actually, either at the February meeting or the January meeting last year. At this time, when I got the invoice coming through, they said, this is considered late, so my guess is the invoice went to the other bookkeeper. So y'all would have paid it around that time last year.
If somebody wants to go check it, I won't be able to get there till the middle of May. So
You wanna find the key? Where is it?
it's in one of the boxes.
You're the treasurer, Tom, you wanna go?
I can go do it. I just don't know which First Financial we use.
Yeah, well, it's probably the one on 105.
I have that information too, because I've been emailing back and forth with the people,
Okay.
so they.
Yeah,
I
if you
can
send me
find
the
it.
information, I'll go find the key if I,
105
or you can show me the key if you know where it is.
Yeah.
All right,
But I see no reason for us to keep it.
No.
okay. Refunds for the month, and then a new energy blank check. Ending balance in your checking account, $70,265.23.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Back up to the voided check for all seasons.
Yes, sir.
Was that for this month?
No, sir. This is actually from a payment that was made in January.
It was lost in the mail.
The check was either lost in the mail or never handed to them, it was never cashed, so we had to reissue that at the last meeting. So I brought a check at the last meeting to replace that. And I think you and I talked about that actually, because we talked on the phone, and you asked me if they'd been paid, and I had to reissue that. So
Okay.
that is, this is the voided check from before.
And just,
Okay.
just so you all know, Synaptics is so high because he hadn't been paid for January and February. There was like 4 invoices he hadn't been paid for.
Thank you, that was a good question. And is this your only charge on here that,
This is my general operating fund charge.
That's just this one.
And then I have a charge for the sewer treatment plant, which is a separate
separate
account.
charge for each one?
Mhm. Your next page, your general operating online account. Accounts receivable coming in at just over 63,000. Earning interest on this account, and then that transfer to your general operating fund to cover the expenses. Your Texas class account still earning really, really good interest. I think we're at 5.4%, somewhere in that ballpark still, so doing very good there. Total operating funds of $1,664,000. Your tax account, tax collections, finally rolling through. I think, in all my districts across the board, they've been very late this year on paying in. So you'll see tax collections of $220,000 coming through, and then disbursement of those. So your transfer of your M&O tax account, tax collections going to your general operating Texas class account, your park collections going there, and then your debt service collections going there. Ending balance in your tax account at $14,270, and I don't know if you'll notice that bottom section says y'all's levy for 2023. This does change if people go through and they protest their values. We are 90.78% collected as of February. The outstanding amount is $173,000 still. Your next page is your capital projects fund. You'll see transfers here. We are closing out that Series 2022 park that was all interest and this was previously closed, or transferred to close it before my time. Bank service charges are listed. Today for y'all's approval, we've got the River Plantation STP amount that they bill each month, that we bill each month, for the wastewater treatment plant facility rehab for phase 1, and then Bower and Spencer for all of their expenses. Our investment account, you'll see listed there, still have lots of funds there. Taylor and I have talked about this, and we are gonna, I think, have to look further into the 3.6 that's left. I have my series report in the backup for it, so we'll get together in the next week or so and try and figure that out. Total capital projects funds at $3,636,000. Your debt service fund with that transfer from your tax account, earning interest in this account, and then your debt service payments. I told y'all we did our little debt service party, so those have been taken care of. Ending balance of $638,000. Your next debt service payment is not until September 1st, and we do already have adequate funds for that. So, your debt service park account, same idea. Your transfer from the tax account, your 3/1/2024 debt service payment, and we're left with $58,502. And we do already have adequate funds for your next debt service payment. Your sewer treatment plant account, receiving payment from East Plantation and River Plantation. Earning interest on this account, we make payment to Energy, make sure all that's taken care of. Service charges are listed. We issued one of your blanks, so your Republic services for garbage expenses. Today, for y'all's approval, we have GFL for sludge removal, bookkeeping fees, you'll see that listed there for February. MOC for operations and maintenance, y'all's garbage expenses for Republic, Vogler and Spencer for all of their expenses, and then a new blank check for Republic. Ending balance in this account at $2,883.86.
So, I have another question. I sent a invoice to you for all seasons last week, and did the check not get made? I know I'm catching you off guard maybe, but.
No, that's okay. I don't remember seeing that. Let me find that email and
Okay.
put my hands on it. I know you and I talked over the phone, and you sent me an email about the one that was lost, and I did reissue that one, but
Okay.
I've been through all my emails, and I don't recall that one. So let me
Okay.
search for it, and I do always bring extra checks to these meetings in case anything ever comes up. So I do have extra checks, we can get one signed today if that was something. But I've been through all my emails, so let me search it and see
Okay.
what's going on there.
Thank you.
Okay, your joint drainage fund. Transferring from capital projects fund, the January meeting, so before my time, there was one invoice that was paid out of the norm. It is not a joint drainage expense, so I have reimbursed that from your capital projects fund. We received payment from River Plantation, made payment to Energy, and you've got bank service charges listed. Today for y'all's approval, we've got bookkeeping fees, this is y'all's last bookkeeping fees, it's 3 invoices each time. Vogler and Spencer, and then new blank check for Energy. Ending balance of $25,929. Your next page is your P&L for the month of February. I like to point you guys to that third column. So the third column is your year-to-date. You're looking at October through February so far, so a good chunk of your year. Maintenance taxes, that's always something I point out. We're at $820,948 collected, so we are very close to where we anticipated. Your budget is $855,000, so we're looking good there. With your water, sewer, and other revenues included, we're at total income year-to-date $1,177,000. With your water expenses, bringing us on to the next page here. All of your sewer expenses and your administrative, so that's where you'll find your legal, your bookkeeping, your engineering. The very, very last number in your third column shows you're in the green still, $526,000, so we're doing very good there. Your next page is your P&L for the STP account. The zeros in the first column and third column show that we have billed everything out to all of your participants. Your next page is your joint drainage P&L, and this is the same situation. The zeros in the first column and third column show we have billed everything out. And then lastly, your Series 2022 construction report. We're going to tweak this a little bit, I'm sure, between this one and the next one, so but I think we're getting closer. I will check my emails for that invoice, and I did bring extra checks, like I said, so I can issue something today if we, I don't know what's going on with that, so.
Okay.
Do you have an idea of how much we're saving by going with you versus the old accounting company?
How much we're saving?
Yes.
I think, well, I actually did look through many of your last year's invoices for Mac. Some months they were up to 13,000 a month, and so I think all of mine combined are under 7. So you're saving minimum, 50%, I mean, across the
50%.
board,
Yeah.
so.
And next month, can we get a kind of accurate number that we can publish?
Yes, I can show you, on average, what y'all are paying per account, if y'all like your general operating fund. I'm significantly less than all of them, but your general and STP and joint.
Just total.
Okay.
Question? With respect to the money that's due us from taxes, we have a report on that from the accountant? You know, how much is outstanding in terms of receivable that's due us?
That's
Not
in a
current.
lawsuit.
Right, well,
It's
it may be a lawsuit, but still it's money that's still we're due. Do we know how much we're looking for?
Yeah, but it's actually more. Keith, do you remember what the number is? It was like
I think it's-
140 something or
I think
something.
the number that came to mind for me was roughly $180,000 was, I think, total expense incurred for work the product of that.
Have we gotten any of that money back?
No, I just said it's in a lawsuit.
So, therefore, I hear that. Okay, so in total, we haven't gotten anything. Then we also have legal expenses on top of it.
Correct.
Which is how much? Their accrues?
Yeah.
Do we get that information from our attorneys when they bill us to know how much?
It's on the billing.
It's on the bills, yeah.
I don't have,
All the months.
I read it, but I have some of the others.
Could we have that for the next meeting? Total amount for attorney fees coming to represent that lawsuit.
I'm sure we can.
We
I'm
can
not
try
gonna
to
pull
pull
it.
it. I'll try to pull it. I think I've already, at the last month or the month before that, when I had that spreadsheet, I think I had which ones were Takas. I'll try to have that for you. I'll pull it,
Paul, is that an easy thing to break out going forward?
We can, but yeah, I just haven't done it that way, because it complicates things on the district side. But the issue is, just to keep in mind, we are seeking recovery of our attorney's fees in the case. And the 180 or what, whatever the number was that Keith gave, we have some hard damages. But we have our attorney's fees for the enforcement, and we fine them. And we are seeking to recover all of that, plus various other statutory damage and things in the case, because what Titus did was unconscionable. And it would be neglect to allow them to do it without pursuing them for it. So that's what's going on in the case.
Do we know if there are any other MUDs suing Takas?
I can tell you that there's plenty that are,
They have damages.
and that are in dispute, yes, ma'am.
But they're not suing, I mean,
I mean, there's-
I looked at a couple of suits, but those are private individuals because of sewer going into.
I don't know all the back end, at least on other, I guess what I'm saying is that we've got other districts within Montgomery County that have incurred expense as a result of TACUS, and that their attorneys are involved in seeking some sort of remedy as it relates to
Is
that.
it before a judge and what court?
I had no idea.
Has
You're asking a
parts.
silly old
Would he
outfit.
know? Would he know
No.
if it's
It has
assigned to a court?
He has filed it, but I don't know it's been assigned to a court. I think
Ask-
they're working in,
They'd have to track down every
they're working in
MUD
litigation. Yeah.
that
No,
had any.
ours. If ours is in the court.
Paul, has it been
yes.
assigned to a court, and is it a court yet? They're
Yeah,
still,
we filed the lawsuit a while ago.
right,
We're working through that case, and
Right.
I'm proud that this MUD is pursuing Takas. But they had the guts to do the right thing. At East Plantation, waived
Walked
all of its
away.
damages.
yeah.
Right, that's gross neglect. This was the exact right thing to do, no
And-
question.
I think she wants to look up the lawsuit. Do you
What
know,
court?
do you know what court
What
it was
is-
filed
Yeah,
in?
it's Judge Santini's court. It's District Court, Montgomery County, Judge Santini.
Is Tycus the only one that's caused damage in their installation? Because there were two other,
Storm,
Rob
Tagus
Van.
is was the, what do I wanna call him, like the
General.
operator, general contractor, the people that were working for them doing the
Yeah, I know.
actual work were Storm Tech.
but there's Optimum and there's Consolidated.
They actually didn't do much damage, most of it was Tagus. We can
Those
trace it
other
right back to
companies were in the
them.
backyards, not the.
Yeah,
Did Santini?
Well, we had it, so Consolidated did cause damage, and we pursued them, and they settled with us before we had to file suit. You may recall
Oh,
that.
yeah.
We entered a waiver
yeah, you're right.
release with them, and they wrote a nice check and covered all their expenses. It was Takus and Storm Tech. Takus is the owner, the facility's owner, and Storm Tech was the general contractor. There were a bunch of subcontractors, and so that's who we're pursuing in the case.
Is there a due date that has to go before Judge Santini to prove that the negotiation have went forward in good
They're
standing?
doing discovery right now.
Oh,
Is there enough information given to these contractors to know where they could bore?
Unquestionably, yes, and that's on them. And just remember, the MUD had to spend this money because of them. That's why we're suing them.
I had a question regarding the bookkeeper's report. I was looking, for the past several months, we've been looking at ways to cut our costs. And on the bill this month for Smith Murdahl, I noticed, I went through the whole invoices for them, and there are 4 or 5 different instances where there was interoffice conference and Public Information Act required by one of the residents, asking for the bookkeeper's reports, the operator's reports, open records request, different things to the lawyers. And for the month of February alone, the lawyers spent or charged us $848 for interoffice, for the Public Information Act, to give this resident copies of everything that we're not charging for. And I wanted to know, Davis, is this something that goes on every month? Do we have these same type of charges every month for the Public Information Act? And if so, is this an average cost every month?
I will say, we obviously only spend time on, responding to open records requests when we get open records requests. We have had a few, lately we've had a few, actually related to the, election, requesting information on the candidates, from, I believe, the Montgomery County League of Women Voters. Is that correct, Austin?
Yeah.
They have made a couple of requests. We have also had requests, as you said, from residents, and that involved potentially some personal information that required a little some attention. So I don't know that I can give you a monthly budget. I'll just say that we only spend the time that is required to be responsive and to provide the information.
I understand that.
So
one of my questions last month is when people ask for copies and we have to do background bookkeeping reports, lawyers' reports, attorneys' invoices that we have to run copies for. It was mentioned that we're not charging the residents for this, and I have spoken to a couple of the other MUD districts, and they charge their residents for this. And I know you said we didn't have a cashier and it's not something that we would charge for, but I think in instances where we're paying $848 a month, it's out of our budget. All residents have to pay this because one or two residents want it.
If you get records from the county, I think they charge you like $1 a page or something like that.
And so I'm thinking we should be able to charge the resident for this information and get a check from them before we give them the information.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, let me say that there are instances when you can require a deposit, and there are instances where you simply invoice the requester. There are pretty detailed rules, and there is a detailed fee schedule that's produced by the Attorney General's office. You know, if that's the board's preference, we can certainly do that. It's important to note that the fees, you know, generally are not significant amounts, but we can absolutely we can absolutely do
Is
that.
that something we need to take a vote on?
Well, isn't that cutting into transparency? You start charging for everything?
I have
All
one
that's
district
doing
that
is paying
I've typed
our
in
expenses.
information.
What are your expenses and why is an attorney
They're
doing
on
this?
the-
Yeah, but why? Because the only thing you're not supposed to give are this person's social security number and their address, and then any health thing. Well, heck, any director can do that. That's not difficult.
I don't understand your point.
My point
Whenever
is,
you
why
request
isn't one
something,
of
they
the
have to spend
directors
the time
doing it?
on it.
It won't cost us all this money.
Who's gonna do it?
Well, what is the big deal about giving out
$800 a
something?
month?
$800 a
Yeah,
month
but-
that all the residents have to pay for.
Well,
No,
she's
that
saying
is
we can
when
do it
the
ourselves,
attorney
wouldn't we?
does it.
Or it's
No, we
charge.
can't. We don't have the facilities to do it.
Okay, now, whatever you have,
Yeah,
you
'cause
can
remember,
make
next
a
month-
copy and give to
Right.
us.
Remember, next month, we're not gonna have this facility, we're gonna have that wall right there. That's all we're gonna have. Where are we gonna put a copier? Where are we gonna put,
I'll copy with my phone.
I don't know that we can, I'm not gonna let somebody, you know.
I'm not.
We can pursue, he can answer the question if we can do it or not. I think it's a fair deal, still transparent. You can still ask for anything you want and get it. You just have to
How
offset the
much?
cost.
How much?
Well, you said the state has
I
regulated amounts.
will just say that the fee schedule is online at the Attorney General's office, Dee, and that the fees are minimal, and that's, I'm no problem, happy to do that, so.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be cheaper if one of the, well, you don't want the directors to do it, you're gonna do it.
Honestly, I don't think so. You know, we've done some, you know, we've had to do some work on the district's files anyway, and so now we have them all, at least from a record standpoint, electronically for the most part, with the exception of, you know, there are some remaining files, largely I think old employee files, that do need to be cleaned up at some point, and we've just kind of been delaying it. I don't, you know, there's some administrative time, largely I think legal assistant time, to go through and clean up and then, you know, shred and dispose of. I think most of that information, again, that relates to former employees, but that does need to be kept secure now because it does have personal information in it. But for the most part, you know, I think that when there are requests that are made that involve personal information, the redaction of information, questions about what, you know, should and should not be provided, you know, unfortunately, what the Attorney General's office has said is that you cannot charge requesters for legal fees, right? And so what you can charge is, I believe, $15 an hour for administrative time. And so a city, for example, would have a, you know, full-time employee that would be responding to these types of requests. But it's just not feasible for a, you know, for a MUD district to do that. And I don't know that there's a practical way to have a director, you know, handle those responses, because candidly, if they are not handled correctly, complaints can be filed with the Attorney General's office, and it can be problematic, and the district has experienced that in the past. So
Okay, I'm only interested in invoices, and those are the ones that come from the bookkeeper. Now, is that the big deal?
and help me understand, you're asking for
Just for
The invoices
invoices.
every month?
No, not every month, but if I ask for invoices, why is that a big deal since that doesn't have anybody's personal information on it, but that's our money, so why would that be a problem? Just giving me that.
I don't want to respond just generally and say, no, it's not a big deal ever. I don't think that that's problematic, and I don't think that there's any reason you shouldn't be able to see the invoices. We do try and make a habit of looking at them just to make sure that we are not providing anything that we shouldn't be providing, and then documenting that response. But beyond that, there shouldn't be, a huge amount of effort involved. If you, for example, request the, mowing invoice, for last month, I don't think that that's, a big issue, so.
Yeah, that's all I think I'd be interested in. I'm just interested in the money. Thank you.
Betty,
Sure.
since December, the last 3 months, has there been any checks issued to any attorneys that represents us or work with us without their backup invoice?
No. We
You have all
their
details, all backup.
No checks are cut without backup.
Yeah, we have all their backup.
Okay, good.
We're getting them a few days ahead of the meetings now,
Okay.
and I think we got them 3 or 4 days ago, so I've been going through all of the invoices that we signed the checks for now.
Thank you.
And this has just been since we've got the new bookkeeper.
What's the level of detail in those invoices?
It's, I have one here in front of me. It's pretty detailed.
Oh, is
It
it?
has the dates and how many hours they billed, who billed it, whether it
In
was
other
Davis
words,
or
what-
Austin or.
Right, no, or was it a legal assistant? In other words, what,
Yes, the costs are different than it
Oh,
is
yeah,
for
there's a different rate
for
for each
Davis
one.
and his assistant or the.
so you know how much time he spent?
Mhm.
Okay. so-
And would it be detailed more or less with a sub area showing that they worked on this particular project? And so we can know how to tie it in.
So we bill based on client and matter number, and we have separate matters for each client. And then each bill is produced based on a matter. And then that bill shows the person that did the work, the day they did the work, the amount of time that was spent. There's a written, there is a description of the work performed, and there is a cost associated with the work.
How about that other attorney that we have here sometimes? What is his name?
Raddick.
Raddick. Does he do that too?
Yes.
Yeah, I just didn't bring his with me.
Thank you.
If you have a copy machine in here, that's all she has to do is pay you for the paper and go get the copy done. It's easy enough.
We're not a fully staffed office,
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I'm not asking for a staffer, you put the machine over there.
We're a board member, we're not
Nobody,
operations.
yeah, that's right. I'm sure someone here would operate the copy machine if it's beyond your skill set.
Okay.
So that was my
That's
question. So-
ridiculous.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is ridiculous that you
Yes,
can't run a copy
ridiculous.
machine.
That's an insult. And
And it should be an insult to us to have you as a board member and can't run a copy machine. You're
We
right.
can run a
not
copy
what he said.
machine, there's more to it than just running a copy machine.
Yeah, but let's say there was a copy we wanted right now. That person, the bookkeeper, could just get up, make that copy and give it to the person just requesting it at the meeting. I agree with the rest, too time consuming.
But it's time consuming because we have attorneys based on the hour they're standing here with us, and if it has somebody running
It's
copies
after the
during the
meeting,
day.
it's after the meeting. They're closed. Just
Arguing
do
about
it.
nothing.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Or
didn't
let her
find
do
your
a picture
email
with a camera.
From the All Seasons, could you forward that email to me? And also, Julie, you had sent me an email about, TCEQ invoice, and that was already
Yes.
previously paid, and it was already cleared. So
Okay.
I think we're good on the bookkeeping
Okay.
side of it.
Photocopy
If you
with the
could
camera
you
would
could
do
forward
the
that to
work.
me, I have another check, that I wrote out, so I can fill that out and get that signed by you guys.
So we still need
It's
this.
like this.
Can you send me the information
Well,
on the
look at
bank
what's
so I can check on
Got you
that?
all of that.
Okay.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, what, tax assessor collectors report. Any questions on that?
No.
All right, review of the investments. Okay.
have any questions.
Good with the investments?
Yeah. I don't have, where,
I thought it was in there.
I thought we already had, I don't have any problem.
No, I don't have any.
Payment of the district bills, we've already looked at that, okay. So can I get a motion to approve the bookkeepers and financial matters?
I make a motion, we approve the bookkeeper's reports and the tax assessor, review of assessed interest and payment of the district bills.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, order establishing the drought contingency plan, and can we do both of them together?
Okay. You can, if you prefer to handle it that way. These are they're both candidly on the same schedule, right? So you have a drought contingency plan and water conservation plan that need to be readopted every 5 years, and you are, and it is time for that update. So I'll just let everyone know that your drought contingency plan addresses really water restrictions in the event of a drought, and there are triggers in the plan that relate to or that are tied to the district's water production capacity, and then provisions for voluntary and then mandatory use restrictions. And then your water conservation plan is candidly more of a general document that says that you're going to endeavor to reduce water consumption. And we've included the same targets that you've had previously. So,
Are these plans online so we can see them, or?
they are both in the meeting packet that is online. And I will tell you that the order establishing the drought contingency plan starts on page 16 of the meeting packet. And the order adopting the water conservation plan starts on page 27 of the meeting packet. I'll also add, I'm almost positive that the current drought contingency plan is posted on the website. I don't know that the water conservation plan is, but we can check the website and make sure both of them get posted. I will tell you that, in my opinion, the drought contingency plan is much more relevant for district water customers, but they're both obviously important documents.
So if these are available online, then why aren't the bookkeeper's report and stuff's online also, right? We can print it out before we come to the meeting. I see y'all have copies up there, but we don't have copies back here.
Did you go under to the website and go to meetings and go to meeting documents?
I usually do. That's how I got the
So they weren't
the
out there
agenda.
before the meeting?
Huh?
They weren't out there before the meeting?
I'm new to this,
It
okay?
say meeting packet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see the meeting.
Okay, it
I
should be
didn't-
on there.
Always, well, it probably is, but all I look in here and see is the notification for the meeting.
Oh, the agenda,
Yeah.
there should be 2 or 3 things. There'll be 2 things with blue, and then the third one will be after the meeting when the meeting recording gets put up there.
Okay, yeah. I've seen those.
So we put the notice up early. Obviously, we have that before we have all of the documents for the meeting, and so we put the notice up. We send it for posting on the website when we post the meeting notice, which is generally a week or 10 days in advance, and then as the documents come in for the packet, they are added to the packet. So, if that's helpful.
Yes,
But they're all online. And I actually work from the same packet that is available to the public, so that when someone has a question of, is this in the packet? I'm on the River Plantation MUD website right now, looking at it, so.
All right, so can I get a motion to adopt or establish the drought contingency plan and adopt the water conservation plan?
It looks fairly standard to me, but it's been done every year, so I'll make a motion to approve it.
Can I get a second? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Do you recall if we've ever imposed anything of part of the restrictions? I don't recall any, like water days that we've had to do. I've been here for 32 years, I just don't remember it ever happening.
don't personally, Tom, I don't, I don't, because y'all, candidly, because of your water plant situation, I think y'all are actually very lucky in that you have not
Yeah.
been required to.
When I was looking at that, I don't know why we need it, never use it. But let's
Right,
hope we
well,
don't. Let's hope we don't have to.
that's right. That's right. I will tell you, basically every MUD district that I'm aware of has one. The only event that I can think of that would have warranted it would be like a TACUS situation where there was damage to the system and you lost pressure. But even then, I don't think that I think that all happened so quickly. I don't know that implementation would have made sense. But typically, when we see implementation is peak summer usage, right? When usage skyrockets to the point that the system is having difficulty keeping up with demand, and we will see districts incrementally implement stages of the plan in an effort to reduce consumption in order to maintain the operation of the system. So again, you all have you have a more robust system than the TCQ minimum standards, and I think that is what has kept you from having to implement these stages in the past. So
That makes sense.
Did we vote on it yet? We did, didn't we?
You made the motion.
Yeah, I know I did, I just didn't know.
Yeah, we voted.
We did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, good.
All right. The resolution to adopt the Verity voting 2.5 system for use in the May 4th, 2024 director's election.
I don't know anything about it.
okay, as we've talked about, we have entered into a joint election agreement with Montgomery County for the May election. This is the voting system that Montgomery County uses. So really as a procedural matter, because we are working with, or we have contracted with Montgomery County, we need to adopt the voting system that they have selected for our election. So this is the electronic voting system so that we can use our voters can use their voting machines in the election.
So, do I have somebody that wants to make a motion to approve the resolution, or to adopt the resolution?
I adopt the resolution that we accept Verity voting 2.5 system.
A second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 8, park rules, penalty for operation of prohibited motor vehicle. We have
Okay, we had
one?
we had some conversation about this last month, and we agreed we were gonna put it back on the agenda. If everybody remembers, this is the, essentially guidance document that, we had had some discussion about, including essentially a proposed penalty, right? This doesn't mean that the district all of a sudden has the ability to, issue citations. This is still the same civil penalty process that Paul talked about, and he's obviously here and can comment further on that. But if you remember, this would be essentially a policy, a guidance document for the board's use, going forward. So no action necessary. You can discuss it. You can proceed however you like. So
I had a question on it. On page 3, it has on F, no person shall cause a vehicle to be parked within the recreational areas except in a designated parking area. Vehicles parked on the shoulder of the road in designated areas must be parked parallel to the road. This provision does not apply to any vehicle making deliveries of materials, supplies, and equipment purchased or rented by the district. And on that particular section, I think we've had a lady has been parking there pretty well inside the park for the last month or so, waiting for her
School bus.
She actually has moved,
Oh, has she?
because I've talked to her,
Okay.
and
And I didn't know
how
if that
long
had
she's going to stay there. I didn't go empty the trash can,
Oh.
so it was
Okay.
kind of contingent on me emptying the trash can.
Okay.
And,
So I saw that and I wondered if we had, we'll address that with
Does
her.
that mean that they can park there now?
No.
No,
Is it just
Is it-
temporary?
She was asked to move to the edge.
Well, I
She's
know that.
afraid as cars turn that corner, she's gonna get hit.
Yeah, but I'm
I
talking about
know.
the resolution. I understand what you're saying, where it says they can park parallel on the side of the road.
they've always been able to
They're
park.
always on the side of the road.
They can park on the side of the road.
That's technically the right of way.
That
not
is,
for-
and they've always been able to park
Right.
parallel to the road. That's where we want them to park,
Right.
not
So
within
I
our
think
park.
they could on the park ground.
They're not on the park ground, it's parallel to
The road.
on the edge of the road. There's a three,
Thirty
is it 3
feet
foot
from
right
the-
away, 2 foot?
30 feet from the center of the
No
road.
problem.
So I think we're.
Are we gonna attach that to the park rules page on the website?
This is in the park rules, now,
Oh, it's already there on the website? Okay, I didn't know.
I believe so.
It's been updated,
Okay.
because it didn't say no
It's,
golf before,
Yeah, it's on there, it's in
and
this
this
one.
one it
It's
is.
updated with no
So
golf.
Little League and baseball diamonds and all that, everything parallel.
It's when they park,
Park.
except in the spots where the CIA has the no parking signs. That's the CIA, not ours. That's on their right of way.
Tom, I misspoke. Let me say that the update on the golf balls is not on the website, yet. We will get the current, one posted. The change that we discussed, or that the board approved at the last meeting.
You know, that's already on the website, the rules are. I'm just, the part that you have here that gives you all the definitions, that should be there too, I think.
Well, the signs are up now in the park, and Tom did a really good job.
Hats
with all
off
the
to Tom.
signs.
Yeah.
He did a real good job, all the signs are in place, and they look like they've always been there, he did a good job on the signs, so those are.
Is that Tom Vanderveer?
Where'd you get them at? They look that old.
He did them all.
Where'd you get those at? They look that old then. Feel like they've been there forever.
I'm not understanding you.
He said they looked that.
They look like they've been there since the other signs.
I worked on it. You know, I put them up there and then rubbed dirt on them.
Yeah, okay.
So you did a good job.
Copies, but you put signs.
All right,
So that's number 8.
All right, so number 9, park maintenance matters. Does anyone have anything? Otherwise, I've got one comment. So, we actually had a homeowner who decided, and I think Carl went and looked at it, Mario looked at it, I've looked at it 3 or 4 times, who decided that since no one was using Charleston, it could become his storage area. I did have the constable ask him to move it because as of Monday, he had actually secured everything to trees in Charleston, I guess in anticipation of the storm blowing everything away. So he chained everything to trees in Charleston. He did move everything except for all the branches that he cut off his trees in his yard. So my thing to you is,
Do we know that you cut those off?
well, we don't know, but
So,
all seasons, if they will go remove them behind, I'll give you the address. If they will remove them, apparently they're not mowing there anyway because the branches are
Because the
there.
branches are in the way? Okay.
So if they will move them and mow there, then we'll know that they've been moved. And then we'll,
There are several branches
He's
there
gonna
on
be,
Charleston.
he's gonna be here
well,
tomorrow.
this is,
So,
yeah, these are, I mean, you can tell they
I've
went
seen
through
them,
and trimmed
yeah.
all the
I
trees.
saw, yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
He got a good job, he got them to take all the branches off pretty much all of the Charleston Park. But they are missing
Well,
anywhere that there's
these
no
were still
grass.
here at 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Well, no, I
The
didn't
ones-
say, I didn't finish. They're still missing some areas where they're not mowing. Like
Right.
you said, if it's under trees and stuff, they're not picking those up.
Well, this
And I
one,
think they
okay,
should.
so you know how far that lot line goes in? How
Mhm.
far our goes in to where
Yeah.
that tree fell?
right, yeah,
That's where the, okay,
okay.
okay,
I have pictures of it too.
Yeah.
You need 'em.
okay, so, okay. Anything else on park
But
maintenance?
I don't think they're using it as storage, they're actually, it's a trampoline their kids are using there. I think it's.
I don't think so.
That's what it looked like to me, going right up to it.
It was a trampoline and one of those
And
blow
a
up
blow-up
things.
movie
Yeah,
screen.
Or a bouncy thing or something, yeah.
Yeah.
It was all over the place. And then the blow up thing was all over and they.
I was gonna say, when I saw it, it was
When I
laying
saw
on
it,
its
the
side.
power
it was-
transfer.
I saw it was all packed up
It looks
under the
tacky,
park.
Yeah, yeah.
tacky.
Anyway, it's been moved.
Operators.
Okay. Operators report.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Before you have the operations report for February, total connections of 977 with 11 vacancies. Revenues totaling $63,034.77. Total pumping of $6,650,000. 93% accounted for this month, with 3 leaks repaired. 6 bacteriological samples taken, all came back good. And for below that, you have your wastewater treatment plant numbers for the month when we submit it to the state. Everything is working within our parameters for no excursions or breaches. And below we have our base revenue and our consumption base and our accountability charts down below.
Well, our receivables are pretty high, the age receivables.
Yes. And then attached is our DMR reflecting those numbers we submitted to the state. So, no checks or numbers on the right-hand side, which is good. And then I also passed for around 2 quotes, and those 2 quotes will fall under Tater's report. I just put them in my package.
Yeah, what are you talking about from our report?
And there was one incident in the district this month that I'd like to talk about in closed session. That's okay with the board. Yes, and then.
We can talk about those. You want to talk about those in closed session too, because
Okay. You think so? Okay, we can do that. Okay. Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
Does she have any questions for me?
No?
I make a motion, we accept the operator's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, engineers report.
Thank you. All right, guys. First item on my list is we finalized the 2023 annual report for the stormwater quality management plan, and we'll be submitting that on April 5th, so next week. Nothing on the rest of those for the joint projects, the East Stitch FEMA work. We did submit the quarterly report. That's still all working through that system. Bureaucratic mess. Nothing on the East Stitch maintenance. I'm going to touch base with all season about the next scheduled quarterly, which would be April, and get that scheduled. The wastewater treatment plant rehab, we have bids set to be received on 4/5, so we'll present those at the April meeting. Holly Springs Drainage, we received 3 bids. AR Turnkey, who is the current storm sewer contractor, was the low bidder in the amount of $87,165. That we do recommend award. Attached is a bid tab for those guys and the recommendation of award. If you guys want to talk about the game plan for that, I went out and talked to both residents, Mr. Young and Mr. Coyne out there. We're going to be kind of cutting through a little more of Mr. Coyne's backyard, but he was in favor of it just because of the improvements that it's going to make to the storm sewer. So.
I guess we need to get that in writing though, right?
Yes, we're putting together an easement, and then he'll have to sign the documentation for the easement to be able to do the work. So we're putting that together, and then we'll send that over to Davis and them, and then get it in front of him for signatures. And I discussed that with him. District projects, I did send out the drainage study to you guys. It's a big long document. The main thing to look at if you're going to read through it is the front report that goes through, and mainly the conclusions. So through the report, you'll see in the back where we talk about the conclusions, there's 3 main areas that we call out that have some localized flooding during the 10-year, 100-year, and 500-year flooding rain events. Another thing to note about this study was it was done 2 different ways. So one was to look at River Plantation as its own sewer system, not contributing anything from the San Jacinto. We all know when the San Jacinto fills up, it backflows into it. There's not much we can do about that scenario.
Nothing.
But, yeah, yes. But when it rains in the district, we want to make sure that the water gets out in an orderly manner and we're not getting any backup into it. I think we've seen great improvements because of all the storm sewer work we have done already. There's still some areas that show some potential issues. I would like for you guys to just take a chance to look at that report. Focus mainly on the exhibits 8, 9, and 10, and 17, 18, and 19. Those are going to be your exhibits. And I'll send that out in an email as well, just kind of detailing it out for you guys. you can kind of see the areas we're pointing to as future wants to dive into as we get further down the road. The sanitary sewer rehab phase 2, we received 4 bids, and Situ Form Technologies was a low bidder in the amount of $692,620. And attached is our recommendation of award and bid tab for that. That's right in line with what we had projected for the cost estimate. If you look at your capital improvements fund, we ended up merging phase 2 and 3 kind of together for this phase 2. So essentially, we knew we were going to do our work, let's get it done. So that's why it's a little higher than what you see broken out in between both of those. Sanitary sewer manhole rehab. So from the videos we had, we went through about 150 of the manholes. Based on due diligence with your money, we saw no interior damages that would need to be called directly to it. We have another 200 manholes we're inspecting in the rehab phase 2 that we'll look at as well. But we just try to be diligent with spending funds. Charleston Park irrigation. We were going to have that meeting on Monday, and we thought it was going to rain, and sure enough, as soon as I canceled it, I looked outside and I was like, dang it, we could have just got. So we moved it to this next upcoming Monday. We'll be out there. They did come out and they flagged all the manholes. I'm gonna bring flags with me as well when we run it, just because they were mowing Thursday. I talked to Martin with All Seasons. But his guys are gonna do their best to avoid it, but obviously things happen. So the surveyor's coming out next week as well to survey all of those line items. They provided a proposal. It's a little confusing, so they wanted to provide a proposal for maintenance of everything, so I went ahead and sent them the original proposal we had sent out. But at the bottom of the proposal, you'll see a maintenance for the irrigation system itself. So what they're proposing is 24 visits, at $650 a visit. That's running through the entire system, checking for leaks, checking coverage, reprogramming controllers as needed. They're doing minor repairs, head adjustments, and things like that. I mean, I think that's a pretty fair quote with the fact that you guys have 208 different spray zones. There will be different areas where you guys want to adjust it. Obviously, we talked about, seeing where it's spraying and stuff like that. They also provided a quote to store 20 additional fittings in the amount of $5,297. These are the specific fittings that have to be made for, they're specialty golf course fittings. They have their own electronics in them. So when they're charged, they pop out and spray accordingly. So just based on the weather events that we have and freezing and stuff like that, they have, a tendency to fail. So it'd be nice to be able to change them out in a speedy manner without having to custom order them or anything like that. So I also talked to them. They will come out, on call as needed for any events that we see forecasted. So if we see a freeze coming or something like that, they'll do their best to drain their lines and prepare everything for freezes. If flooding, if we feel like something needs to be done. If it's raining a ton, they'll come out and turn off the system, and so they'll make all of those slight adjustments that aren't included really in their 24 visits. Those are just necessary, quick fixes, things that they can send a
We guy won't out. need to call them, they'll come out.
We can communicate with them
Okay.
if we feel a need. I talk with the guy all the time because he's always checking on the system, and so if he calls me and says, "Hey, it's been raining a lot, you want us to go turn it off real quick?"
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
turn it off just to be diligent with it.
So is this Mosswood ditch part, that's just once it's already cleared out, right?
That would have been once it's already cleared out, yes.
Okay.
That was the original plan for that. Correct.
Okay.
The storm sewer phase 1 rehab, I have attached to change order number 3. This 54-inch line is the CM corrugated metal pipe that's behind 592 Stonewall Jackson. It actually runs under the lady's, I think it's a sidewalk kind of driveway. She's got a big row of hedge of bushes there as well. That pipe actually borders right along the side of her house. And so
Are you talking about Stonewall Jackson Court?
Stonewall Jackson Bend, it's right behind there.
Ben, okay.
The lady whose the pipe actually runs underneath her driveway under those hedgerows is on Stonewall Jackson. I can't think of her address. But that line is so close where that point repair is that we're looking at proposing doing the geo liner that we were doing on some of the other lines. There's that change order attached. Nothing new to report on water plant number 2 electrical. They have been working on the new service connection. And then Plantation Village drainage improvements. So using the drainage study that you guys authorized, we were able to look at the rainfall data on that property, the drainage area essentially coming through the flow pattern. That I presented some arrows shown last month, and then what we're showing on the very last page of my report is constructing swells that go around the house and channelize the water to the road, and then conveying the road with an additional 24-inch across the road into the Charleston Park ditch. The cost associated with that for our cost estimates, about $49,740 is what we have built in for that.
Is that going to clear up pretty much all of that area in there?
Clear it?
Yeah.
Or clear up the
drainage problem?
Yes, we believe that it'll channelize the flows, get it out of there faster, cut down on the sheet flow coming across the lots, and reduce the issues.
What about the road sinking down here in front of the pool? There's like a sinkhole that's been continually repaired before by Charlie Riley, and he has told the CIA that he's not gonna come back out and do any work on it because it's not something that's a natural sinking. It has to do with it being a sinkhole underneath.
So we had done some work on that manhole in the past, right?
So
It's
we
not
had
a
a huge
manhole, it's in
sinkhole.
the road.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out what's contributing to the.
Okay.
There's a sanitary sewer manhole,
Yeah.
just to the right of it, between, well, by the park, by the tennis court, and we linered that whole manhole. So I know the last time we talked about it, they said the county wouldn't do anything with it until we fixed that issue. So now I just think it's natural settling. We filled in as much as we could, we put water in it, we compacted it, we did that several times. So now I think it's just natural settling. As far as I know right now, there's not an active sinkhole, and that whole manhole has been linered in.
And if it's worthwhile, we can coordinate, I mean, if the county wants to coordinate, come out here and look at it, we can dye test the hole, and it doesn't show up in the manhole.
I think we need to do that so we
I
can
think so.
fix it again.
Yeah.
I think so, because it's really a hazard driving over it.
Okay.
Just go on the left-hand side.
That's on the,
That whole road is terrible.
It's pretty bad. It is good. But as far as I know, I mean, we drive by there all the time. Mike always looks at it too, so we can keep an eye on there's not any active sinkholes.
Taylor, you aware of the new sinkhole on, just before you get to, in section 5, before you get to Stewart Creek down there? Before you get to the bridge on the south side of RP Drive?
I know I'm not aware of that one.
Yeah, there's a new one developing.
Is that one a part, it sounds like it's not part of an actual storm sewer system, is it part
It
of?
must be part of the sewer system, it looks exactly.
You said it's before the bridge?
Yeah, it's on the inside of the bridge, east of the bridge and south of RP Drive.
Okay, gotcha.
And there's a sinkhole out there that's starting to form, it's probably about this big right now.
I got one of those.
Yeah,
Or
you
two
do,
of them.
I've been to your house.
Yeah, you did come by. I wasn't there, but Bernita was.
Yeah, that's the one at Stonewall Jackson.
Well, we can look.
Yes, we're gonna talk about that one.
Yeah.
We can check it Monday, I'll show it to you Monday.
Okay, yeah, let's look at it Monday, and I'll take a look at it. Sorry, my bearings are a little bit off.
Yeah, let me know. I'll meet you guys there. I'll bring some dye if we need to bring
Well,
some.
we're gonna go around the sprinkler system, and as we go around.
Is it,
No, he's
are we
not
meeting at the
still-
CI?
Yes.
But I think
He's
it's
not
part of the
Stonewall
storm
Jackson
drain.
Bend, he's Stonewall Jackson Drive.
Correct, I
Yeah,
forgot that.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're bringing donuts.
The 10-year CIP, I'm working with the FA, we've presented our plan to it, we're kind of looking at potential future bonds as we spend down the funds. That's why me and Tiffany need to get together and actually dial down. My records show that
Yeah.
we're about, well, with the sanitary sewer job and what's coming with the wastewater treatment plant, we're gonna be below $1 million in my record. So I just wanna clarify with her to make sure that that lines up. We're not sitting on more money than we thought we were, and need to do more projects.
Right, right.
Moving on to the questions from prior meeting, 592 Stonewall Jackson OC is going to be filling that hole in, and we're working to address the underlying issue that's right next to that CMP pipe, but there's also a big concrete pipe. So what happens is when they put those concrete, they've got big lifting holes on them, and what they're supposed to do is put a concrete plug in them. Well, if you walk through the pipe, all of those concrete plugs are gone, and you can look up and there's just a cavern above it. So they're gonna come in, inject grout up above it, and that should fix the underlying issue. Stonewall Jackson manhole, So MOC, this is one of the prices MOC has prepared for you guys. The price was $4,400, I believe. To do that, that's to remove and replace, correct me if I'm wrong, remove and replace.
Demolish what's there, and bring in or build a new A-type inlet.
Yeah, so right now what that is an atypical, I'm gonna call it ragtag manhole. So your typical cylinder manhole, and somebody just knocked a hole into it to drain water. So this would be an actual E-inlet top with actual holes in it to drain water properly, and then that should fix the sinkhole there. And then you guys brought up last time the Riley Drive storm sewer. That was not part of our repairs, but I did ask MOC to take a look at that one as well. They provided a proposal of $23,892. That's to take care of the inlet at the corner, the sidewalk, along the home end of the walk as well.
That's the one with the tire on it?
Yes.
Yes.
And that is, so it's an old square concrete type.
Okay.
And that is just removing it because every other joint is leaking. That's just, and putting it, the new, what is that,
HDD. Yeah, so they're actually removing the whole thing all the way under the street, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're gonna rebuild it and take it all the way to the ditch.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And that price includes putting back, so we're gonna break out and remove the existing sidewalk, if you will. But I mean, there's no other sidewalk in and around the area, so.
I don't even know why. I know.
One thing.
We're going nowhere.
Hey, that's where my kids ride their bike.
Yeah, back and forth.
There's too many old things. One of the conversations he and I, Mario and I had, was, you know, if this is something that you wanna pursue, we can also, work with the contractor and the homeowner, and if they're not interested in having the pavement, we can maybe knock off some costs, just rebuild the inlet, bury the pipe and sod it, right, and then we can just re-pour there.
Yeah, there's no sidewalk anywhere
crosswalk.
around, and it doesn't go anywhere.
Sidewalk.
So it's just supposed to be in the pipe where it's gonna be.
Yeah.
So that may be an opportunity for cost savings, but I don't know what that number would be today, but just for what it's worth, maybe an opportunity to shave a few bucks off.
That pond that is collecting, the pond where I think we used to have a spring, you know, that water thing. I thought there was kind of some rule or law that when you have a pond like that, so it won't be stagnant and be a basin of collecting mosquitoes and all that you have to have that fountain working so you can keep that area.
Well, that's not really true. The fountain you're talking about, the CIA bought that, and they put it in there. That was before we even owned the property.
Yeah.
But they put it in there, and they didn't get a big enough one with the
No,
big
but I mean
metal
going
blades.
forward now, because
You're not
that's part
listening.
of Charleston,
You're not
right?
listening either. But they didn't get a big enough one that would cut the sludge and the debris that grows in it. So it was plugging up about every other day. So they just took it out and put it up. But it had never been in there until they bought that one, and that was a few years back.
Well, it used to work and everything when
It worked for a
was-
day or two,
I
and
just
then
wanna
it
know, it's
stopped.
under Charleston now, it's owned by MUD, and I'd like to see that be considered repaired, because that part collects mosquitoes. Eggs, and I don't think it's good for
We'll
that
take it
to
into
be-
consideration.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Along with our other projects. Yep. Okay.
Okay.
And Taylor, the holes on the ditch, remember we were talking about getting the dirt in there? I haven't seen anything.
So they were supposed to.
That's on us. I mean, we've been, and Roy and I have had some conversations about it. We've communicated with our construction folks. Honestly, it should have been completed already. Last I heard, it should be next week. So that's not on. It is on Taylor.
Yeah, that's what you said, but we are trying to figure out how, is it, we're gonna get a skid steer back there, or we're gonna have to wheelbarrow this stuff in there, so, that's what we're trying to coordinate it with our construction.
Right. I would think you'd be able to come down the ditch.
Yes.
Right.
So, I'm thinking, and I'm gonna be our construction supervisor out here, is if we could get permission with the guy who has just the frame there, and we can base, work from there. Just minimize some damage.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I will, yes.
And you figure it out.
I have a question.
Okay.
On the East Anderson River, or on this bank here, the west end, so there was 98 acres there, plus there's another piece of property that's been sold. And one of those properties is in this mud district, because I looked at the, do we have any, has there been any plans yet presented for doing mud, haven't done anything with that yet?
No.
That's potential for a big cost there, I think. Okay.
I have a comment.
Okay.
I don't know if you brought it up, but there is gonna be the meet and greet coming up April the 9th at the church.
Right, we haven't gotten to that point yet, but yeah.
Okay, well, I didn't.
Thank you.
Is it on here? I didn't-
No, it wasn't on here, but I was gonna do it when we do when our next meeting is and that at the end, but.
Okay, but I got the email from the
Right.
lawyers, so I just wanted to make sure everybody knew about it, coming up April 9th at 6:30. That's church,
Yep. Yep.
meet and greet.
Tim
That's
set
right.
that up, and Tim's gonna be in charge. I'm not gonna be here.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I will be here.
I don't mind.
But
I'll
you can
take
be in
care of
charge.
it.
Believe
Okay,
that- is
so
that a-
do we
that a
have,
Tuesday, I think?
did we approve yours? Did we
Yes,
accept yours?
yes, we did.
Okay.
But our
Oh.
quote goes through his report.
Okay, so,
We
Yes,
approved MOC, but we didn't
Okay.
approve the quote yet. I think
yeah,
we
we
should
should
do that.
okay. So,
I make a motion, we approve the cost
this is the one
estimates
at Stonewall
for the
Jackson.
one on Stonewall Jackson and also the one on Robert E. Lee.
Yeah, that one really needs it.
And what about Holly Springs? We already approved Holly Springs, didn't we, or did we not?
No, you would need to, y'all approved the design moving forward, but y'all
Okay.
need to approve the bid, so
Okay.
you would have to approve awarding to a
Let's
return.
do these two first, and I'll second her.
Okay.
Okay, all right,
So
so she did those.
I did those two.
That's what I said, I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And then the Holly Springs for AR turnkey. Is that the one?
May
I'll make a
I ask
motion.
a question on that before we vote on it? If I'm understanding this right, when we do this, then we'll be done with Holly Springs, at least our part of it. And when East Mud does their part, we won't have to do anything else, correct?
That's correct. What they were planning on doing is they were planning on doing a drainage study and all this stuff to see about upsizing pipes and things of that nature. I think that this is a solution that will go forward as bad as that pipe is and collapse and things of that nature. I think it will definitely improve the
I
situation.
just wanna make sure if we spend that kind of money that we're done there and, you know, we don't have to go back into it,
Yeah, absolutely.
okay?
Yeah.
All right, so you,
I make a motion, we accept the AR turnkey for Holly Springs.
I second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And then the sanitary rehab phase 2 for Institute Form Technologies, and then that was 692, 620.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can look at it.
I know, I looked at it, but anyway, here it is, right there.
You, which one is it?
The,
The sanitary sewer rehab, phase 2.
Yeah.
yeah,
I make a motion, we accept that
bid from
bid.
Institute Form Technologies.
What?
Institute
Form Technologies. That was a hard one. I
Yeah,
did-
Institute Form.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
I'll talk to him about easing up on the name.
Okay, yeah,
I'll
give
get
your
it.
name. IST or something.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay,
There you go.
okay, do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Storm sewer rehab phase 1 change order number 3 for that 54 inch.
Let's do that one.
Yeah, is that over?
I turned them all pages over.
What's
Oh,
LS
was
mean
that
for
the-
unit?
Lump sum.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Lump sum.
Was that the air turnkey one also?
That's
Okay.
that's for that 54 inch pipe that's going underneath
Yeah.
the corner of the house.
Yeah, the air turnkey.
So I make a motion, we accept the change order for AR turnkey.
So we did that.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion on the Planning Village drainage, if you guys want to move forward with design and getting plans together and going to bid.
Foundation building.
Plantation Village, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
We're gonna have to fix it,
I know. It's just, yeah. I mean, it just, I guess get the bids and let's see where we come out, where we're at money-wise.
Okay.
Okay.
You all vote on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody wanna make a motion?
I'll make a motion, we go out for bids on the Plantation Village project.
I have a second. Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
And then how do you guys wanna handle the Charleston Park, maintenance of there's two of them, there's maintenance of the irrigation system, and then there's the, additional sprinkler heads.
I think we need to,
Yeah, I was gonna say, how easy or how hard is it to get those sprinkler heads?
So according to the irrigation guy who did them, they had to custom a form for them to make them. Now, obviously, the manufacturer now has that form. I'm sure we can get it from them if we wanna, you
Right.
know, tell them, hey, we want that form, we can send it to you whenever we need to begin.
Yeah.
It just depends on how fast you're changing out heads and things of that nature, so.
I think where the sprinkler heads are, that they're likely gonna be broken, there's likely gonna have to, people are gonna go out there and drive over them, and tear them up.
And we
A lot of
can,
people have
and just know, we can have a further discussion at the April meeting if you guys wanna wait until after the walk. You know,
Okay.
you can, that way you guys can meet the guy who would be maintaining it and providing these, and
So we'll table it.
so if you guys wanna table that, cause
Okay.
If somebody were to drive over it with an ATV or a Polaris or one of those things, it's not supposed to be out there anyway. If somebody were to drive over one of those sprinkler heads, what would happen if they break it? Are we gonna have a fountain coming up, or what's the?
that's a really good question, I don't know. Now, I would say that as long as somebody doesn't like park on them, they should be rated because they're used to golf carts rolling over them.
Right.
I golf somewhat, and I've been known to run over a sprinkler head or two in a golf cart. Never seen a geyser, but I will get the answer to that question.
Okay.
That's a good
I don't
question.
think they would do a geyser.
There's a difference between a golf cart and a Polaris.
That weight?
Oh, yeah.
The way you spend it.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that it, Taylor?
Let me double check, sorry.
Do we approve everything?
Yes, I believe you guys approved everything. Oh, one last thing I wanted to bring up that was a little unclear. Last month I presented a tree proposal to survey the
Yes.
trees on Charleston Park. I was unsure on whether that got approved with surveying the sprinklers or not. Does anybody remember?
I don't remember anything about the tree.
I remember us talking about it, I don't remember if we approved it or
I remember
not, but
there
it
was-
sure would be helpful when it comes to these trees that fall and whether they're our responsibility or the homeowner's responsibility or,
Oh, he was gonna do a survey on the trees, right?
Yes.
you know. I mean, or even, I mean, instead of guessing where they're at and,
And looking at the phone and telling
Right.
where they're at.
yeah. It would be, how much was it?
I'm trying to pull it up right now.
That's probably
Let me find it and we'll wrap around,
Okay.
wrap back around to it.
not, okay,
Sorry. I'm
okay.
gonna pull it up.
That's
on my
okay.
computer.
Okay, so our next meeting is scheduled for April 25th. We do have, as Mr. Baldridge said, we do have a meet and greet for the candidates on April 9th at 6:30 PM at Cornerstone Church. Okay. We do have 4 people running for the positions.
So the next meeting is the 25th.
April 25th.
And who are they? Do you have the names, or is it on the website?
It's on, I don't know if it is on the website. It's Mr. Baldridge, Mark Denham, Tom Vandiver, and Betty Brown.
Mark? That was on the mud board before?
I don't think he's ever been on
That's
the
Mark-
board.
That's Mark Robin,
That's Mark Robin,
not Mark
Oh.
Denham, you're thinking about Mark Robin.
my backyard neighbor.
Okay. As soon as Taylor finds his tree thing.
Thought there was more.
No, nothing like pressure. Nothing like pressure, huh? I was trying to think if there was anything I needed to.
Are you gonna write this out, or do we need to write it out?
I got your email saying that you got my email, but I didn't get the invoice, so once you send me the invoice, I can write it out.
And I'm gonna give you the checks if you wanna figure out, because I'm sure these guys want their trucks to take with them. And I didn't know.
Yeah, if they don't mind, send it fail.
Oh,
Send it to the church.
I think it's really far. I think this building is.
Okay, and then this has already been paid, but that's the original of the one that I sent you the other day. So, yeah, I just wanted to make sure you had the original one of it.
I'm ready for the plants to grow and no bugs. Down to pesticides,
Is there any, while we're here, is there any pending business? Anything we need to discuss pending business?
Nothing I can think of.
We did talk about changing the date for the next meeting.
Next meeting's not changed, May. Oh, unless
But we have to
do
declare
you
them.
want to change the next meeting so that I'm
You're
here?
not gonna be here?
Well, you're gonna have to make it real early,
Wait,
but the May one will be, you'll have to make it before the 15th,
what?
because I'm leaving on the 15th.
Oh,
You talking about
we're
May?
talking about weeks, huh?
Yeah,
How do you pay your bills?
huh?
How do you pay your bills if you don't have a meeting here to approve them?
We'll take
No,
care of
we're
it.
having a meeting, that wasn't what we were talking about.
No, but it'd be-
Price, it was, $9,975.
Okay.
And that's every tree that's 24 inches in diameter.
$9,975, and that's just a survey.
The trees on that whole,
That's every tree.
77 acres.
Yeah, that's every tree bigger than 24-inch diameter.
We have to declare the 9th an official meeting, because there's gonna be more than 3 board members there. Right?
Well, only if we're ever discussing business. We don't have to declare the 9th an official meeting if it's just to meet the candidates and we're not gonna be discussing
So if
business.
it is a meet and greet only, there is a specific exception to the Open Meetings Act for a meet and greet.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think we've got it posted on the
Well-
front there.
Okay.
That's a
No.
Thank Austin, he did the research.
Well,
Thank you,
Can we
Austin.
check
well,
those?
maybe the front door, not on the
Yes,
website.
6:30
I
on
think
the
there's a
9th at the
notice
church.
there posted, but I think.
So
Pretty sure I read it.
entertain
I don't
things,
know.
maybe?
I thought
Okay.
you were talking about.
Except the main one is gonna be real early too. The main one has to be before the main one's gonna be on the 13th, so,
Could be wrong, James, but I think it is over there.
because we have to turn the stuff into the elections.
This is about the, only gonna be 2 weeks.
Why?
I thought it was a week.
No, I'm leaving on the 13th.
You're going for
Getting out of here. Okay, all right, so we're good?
Tree survey.
Tree survey.
You guys
A
want to-
motion to accept it, motion to not accept it, motion to approve it, motion to not approve
I'll make a motion that we approve it.
it. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. There you go, Taylor.
Good job.
Okay. Okay. All right, we are going into executive session, so,
You know, get one question in before you do
sure,
that.
maybe, yeah.
Was it clear about repairs in front of my property over there?
We approved it,
Okay,
MOC's gonna do it,
okay.
and you'll have to ask them when, so,
Okay.
but,
I'll contact the contractor in the morning.
All right, as long as it's been approved, I don't care, I waited how many years, so.
Yeah.
I understand.
So,
we're back in session at 9:09.
I do.
Did you start that report?
I did.
Okay, we're back in session at 9:09, so, we wanted to vote on the things we need to vote on first, or discuss that first? Or discuss what?
either way, why don't you go ahead and vote and then we can discuss, how about
Okay,
that?
all right,
Okay, I make a motion that we prepare the lease for the ESD, subject to the changes as we discussed, and send it to the ESD attorney.
that
So,
you approve
so
it.
approve it subject to the,
Yes.
okay, perfect, okay.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I need to recuse myself.
Oh, you're on their board. That
And that's all we need to make a motion on right now.
I think that was the only thing
That
we
was
were
it.
voting on.
Yes.
Yeah.
This,
Oh, yeah, we need to vote on the
moving the
cost for the
equipment.
moving the equipment.
So, I also make a motion that we, accept the, estimate for $1,926 to move the existing equipment out of our portion of the building, into the new,
Our new section.
our new section.
Okay. Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do I need to recuse myself from that one too? Probably.
No, I don't,
Okay.
I don't think so, but well, how about we say this, if you just go ahead and recuse yourself.
From everything
we
with the
don't have
lease.
to worry about it.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Okay, Tom, you had a question, about,
Disposition of
something.
surplus.
So, here's what I'll say is, I think what we're talking about is the old office furniture on the side of the building to be leased, to the ESD, you know, a handful of desks and file cabinets and stuff like that, is
We
that
also have
right?
a good boat anchor in there, it's called a copier, great big sucker.
Yeah.
That's probably
Yeah,
50
I don't
years
know
old.
what the market for 20-year-old copiers is. My guess is that the market value for that stuff is low. I know, I think I understand that you tried to get an auction house to take it and they refused. Is that right?
No, I don't
Well,
think
they discouraged it. I talked to Renee Bates.
Okay.
They discourage it, but they don't have to do anything. We have to take the pictures, send them to them, and she said that there's more than a plethora of this stuff across the state of Texas for auction right now.
Right.
Can we donate it to a church?
Right.
Yeah, so that's the question. Can we sell it to a used office place maybe, or give it to them, to let them, just have them come get it?
Or take it to like Angelic Resale or some,
yeah.
one of the charitable places in town.
Goodwill.
Goodwill?
No, Goodwill's not a thing.
But what about
That's
a
a
church?
for-profit.
Would a church need it, or?
I mean,
Mhm.
let me say this, if they would come pick it, the only
So
thing
you
I
don't
always
have
tell my clients to be
current costs.
sensitive about is the cost associated with charitable donations, right? So if the equipment has de minimis value and you are simply donating it, that's one thing, but if you have to pay somebody, you know, a couple $1,000 or $500 or whatever the number is to move all that stuff. I don't know how many guys it would take to move that copier, but I don't think it's a job easily done, or I wouldn't think so. You know, you're probably going to incur some moving expenses, and I just don't.
Purple Heart.
I would be sensitive about expenditure of district funds for any non-district purpose. Right?
Absolutely.
But if we could
But
get somebody to come get it, can we do that?
Like a disabled vet or the Purple Heart or whoever?
Right, if there was a
Or
veterans
private
organization that wanted to pick it up and take it, you know, and it is of no commercial value, which it sounds like, you know, that's the message you've gotten from the auction warehouse. I don't think that's a problem, no.
Okay.
But that's for a donation, but what if we got like an old, used furniture store that wanted to take it? That would be not an odd donation still, but not to a charitable organization.
Office, those are comfortable.
Yeah, those are.
What I would say, Tom, is if they wanna come over and look at it and give us a number, on it that the board could consider, then I think that's, absolutely something that we can do.
Okay.
I mean, I think that, I think the value is very low.
Yeah, I know.
And I think that we just wanna be careful that we're not paying somebody to drag it around and we spend $2,000 in moving fees and
I
get
don't wanna spend
$300.
I don't think we need to spend anything.
No, I just wanna know if we can
Auction
sell it.
house, I told them we had a gator, and we had some survey equipment, so they said, we have no problem selling that for you, you know?
Oh, yeah, we do
Right,
need to get rid of that
right.
stuff.
Right, it's just, you know, those filing cabinets are probably, you know,
$20.
$20 a piece, yeah.
Yeah, so what I would like to do is be able to hook up with somebody like that. She does a lot of municipalities across the state, or he does, I should say.
Yeah.
But
okay.
hook up with somebody like that and put the things that we think we can make money with, like the gator, the survey equipment, things like that. I don't know that there's very much of it out here. We even have some used computers and stuff, but who wants to buy a used
I
computer?
was gonna say, then
Nobody.
you'd have to wipe it clean.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah, I mean, those are, talk about a boat anchor.
Yeah, but we got to, so I'd like for us to have the latitude to auction what we think we can get some money out of, and possibly find somebody that would come and do the labor to pick up some of this old equipment that has virtually no value. Even like a office equipment place might buy that, take that, not buy, but take that copier. I'm sure there's some value to something in it for somebody, not.
Well, I was gonna say, we got a guy right here in RP that,
Metal guy.
well, no, I wouldn't think about that, but that repairs copiers, that may want it for parts or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, we might could find somebody that would take it for, it works fine, but.
And,
Right, I would just be careful about, you know, kind of giving away
Yeah.
stuff in a way that could be publicly perceived as improperly, you know, giving a benefit to an individual. I think a veterans organization is a great idea if there is one that will take it.
Purple Heart.
So I think, but I completely understand
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know, but
the goal, and we're
there's
happy to look
something
at
about
any
part of it is
individual,
for-profit.
you
Okay.
know,
That's good
proposals
enough.
to make sure they're legal tone.
I know,
That's
it
the
would
way
just-
we'll proceed, then we'll start looking at charitable organizations on the furniture
Right.
and go from there, and if we can't find somebody there, then we'll go another way.
Tom, you wanna work on that?
Yeah.
I've been working on that. I've sent you a bunch of stuff already.
Okay,
I just sent you all of the backup, how to do it.
Today?
It's on your phone right now, probably.
oh, okay.
I would make one suggestion, that we bring one desk in here, put the computer.
Yeah, we
in.
can
I was
do
gonna say,
anything
put
we
it in
want.
that
I'm saying
outfit
put
right
it
there.
right there and stop using your computer, put a camera on that, and then we have a camera ready to go every time instead of using your personal computer.
Oh, we could do,
Good
yeah,
idea.
you're right.
Good idea.
That's right.
And then we can use that.
That's
Because I
true.
still have to upload the videos.
That's true.
So.
Yeah, what I was thinking there is, and I like that, we could use this camera over here on this desk, but I would like to get one mounted on the wall back there that shot back here, maybe had a remote so we could turn it on and off from back here. And it would be in the center of the
Now you're
room.
defeating his whole purpose of putting the desk
No,
over.
no, this one,
No, we still, no, this is for
this is
this.
for this.
This is
Yeah.
for the.
But if you use that camera for this,
Yeah.
Okay.
and get us another one up here that has a
Mount
remote
it.
to it, so we can operate it from back here.
Instead of that?
Yeah,
Oh.
because it would be up here,
Yeah.
and that way we saw, but that's something we can look into.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's just spending money though.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Have we voted on everything we need to vote on?
Yes, I think.
I believe so.
Okay. All right, so we're going to adjourn at 9:18, March 28th. See everybody in, oh no, I won't. Next meeting is April
25th.
25th at 6:30 PM.
And don't forget
And the meet
April
and
5th.
greet is April 9th at 6:30 PM.
Yep.
At Cornerstone Church.
Yep.
If we